February is here. All right, you may be expecting me to talk about that thing called love. Yeah, I'm over it. No, just no. If you're new to my show, welcome back. Hi, my name is Kirti. And if you are tuning back in, hey, it's so good to have you here. Thank you for joining again. Before we move on, if you're new, be sure to hit follow and subscribe. All right, so what are we really diving into in February? I was thinking about this since last year, and I really want to talk about this two things I've been trying to master for the longest of time. And if I look back in the way things are and the kinds of conversations I've been having in the last couple of months, this one hits the sweet spot, especially for every woman. Now, okay, men, you might be thinking, okay, why should I listen to this one? Hey, isn't Drop Your Noise about offering a fresh perspective? So I need you to be in on this too. Let's get started. All right, what am I really going to be talking about? It's the ick of visibility. Yes, the ick. I need to go back to a period in my life, and I would love you to bear with me. I was born and raised with this idea that my career was to get married and have children. And my partner was the one who was going to take care of my finances. So when I was growing up, I never really felt the itch to have a career. I mean, I did long to be a diplomat. And the other thing was, I never really invested in taking care of finances because I just thought that's my partner was going to do that. Of course, life being life, it just never turned out that way. And overnight, I had to really think, what am I going to do? So happened at the time, yoga was a hot thing. I just got into it. And lo and behold, the center, I just started teaching and then it grew into a center. And then from a center, it wanted to become something bigger. But here are two things that I don't know if I want to confess it, but all right, here we go. One, it grew without me paying a cent or a dime on marketing, except for a newsletter subscription. I did not need to market because a lot of it was word of mouth, which is great and fabulous to some degree. But when I decided to shift, I had no idea how to show up online and write a caption that would engage people. Till today, that's a bit of a challenge. The second thing is in the spiritual industry, somehow or the other, or in the industry where you talk a lot about empathy, emotional intelligence, there is this reason people think you should just listen to them and do everything for free. God knows how many times I've been asked to give a coffee conversation and have to pay for my own coffee while my brain was being picked out. And then here at the same time, Cutie, we're friends. No, we're not. Those two things, when I left the yoga center or that world behind, I did not have a lot of financial expansion to go on this trip that I did embark on a world trip. In fact, I had restraints. So I had to do with not getting to see certain places through a tourist bus. I had to do it by foot. I had to meet a lot of strangers and have conversations I never imagined I would end up having. I needed those restraints to be able to work on the very things that I struggled with. I struggled with my visibility. Funnily enough, had reached some form of a fame where everywhere I went on the island, somebody or the other would know me, and I never had space or privacy. But with fame comes a lot of jealousy as well. And I had teachers just ranking on me and making me feel like crap. And so, in one hand, I wanted to withdraw. I didn't want to be visible. I wanted to hide at the opposite end of the world. And did I achieve that to some degree? Yes, but I was doing a lot of deep work inside. So, fast forward, here we are today, and I'm going to share with you how I'm getting out of my ick of visibility. Couple of months ago, well, actually, no, earlier in January, I was asked to do a workshop on building your personal brand. And I was like, say what? I don't do that. I don't do personal branding. I don't do any of that. I'm struggling with my own visibility. And lo and behold, I said yes, because what do? I always say yes to things that make me uncomfortable. And because I was trying to master visibility, I thought, you know what? This is the best time to do it. So there I am making my slides, and I asked friends around me, I'm like, do I really do personal branding? And a lot of them were like, yeah, you do. And I was like, oh, but I don't like the word personal branding. It feels like I'm a product on a shelf. And they were like, but you do it. And I was like, no, no, no. So here I was making my slides, and lo and behold, I got to understand what personal branding is. And yes, I do it. I just framed it as the words just be me. And I was like, okay. So I was giving this workshop to wonderful, amazing women from this community. And there were coaches in there were yoga, there were other kinds of industries, females from different industries there. And I shared them about the art of storytelling. Make your stories feel like they are of service to others. And as I'm sharing my journey, because that's the best way I could share it and my process, I was also sharing with them this couple of things that I find stood out in the industry. And I'm going to share with you some of them. Number one, did you know back in December 2020, there was a study done by Stanford where women would purposely leave out or keep the summary section of LinkedIn blank? Think about that for a second. Number two, did you know that more men use AI than women? Think about that. Three, did you know that back in November 2025, a social media experiment was done on LinkedIn where women's proved that their content was picked up far less by the algorithms than men? Hmm. And then, of course, I go for these network events. And when I go for these network events and I meet, especially in people in the coaching industry or in the mentoring industry or women who are like transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship and keep saying, I want to give back to community. When I hear all those things, they sound really nice, but why would I go to them? If you ask me a couple of weeks later, do you remember their story? I don't remember it. And then I hear little kinds of remarks like women are jealous from women. I don't think so. Or, women should be empowering more women. How much more empowerment do we need? This is 2026. I've been hearing this since 2019, 2020. And while I feel bad to some degree, I realize that, that's the question always that's in my head. Why come to you? And why is it that women keep using empathy as a selling technique? Let's get over this. That's my gripes. So when I hear all this and I see also the AI slop that's happening where we're copying and pasting, everyone sounds the same. So how do we fundamentally get over this? And it goes back to visibility. What does that really, really mean to be visible? Now, there are two things we're always afraid of as women, for sure. One, we've always been told and over again and felt that when we show up in our sales, if we're too assertive, we're aggressive. And other times, if we play it too safe and too like everybody else, no one really buys into it. No one will buy your service, so you end up doing it for free. The second thing is if you go on LinkedIn and everybody's talking about the same thing over and over, you're just going to scroll past it each and every time. And one of the things, or one of the reasons we are always thinking 10 times before putting our thoughts out there is because of the backlash or the way people reply in the comments. Some of these comments can be pretty harsh out there and pretty unthought about or very personally attackful. But yet, at the same time, with AI slop, you're now being asked to share your why. You're asked to share your story, your reasons for doing something. So you need to really get good at the art of telling a story without making it all about yourself, but also about sharing your thoughts, your opinions, your perspectives. And in a polarized world like that, that can be very, very stressful for many individuals. That's the scenario. That's what's going on. So, how do we go about this? I come back to the art of telling the story. So, obsessively trying to master this, I realized it's about how do you understand yourself on a very deep level? How do I get to tell my stories in a way that I'm actually not so worried about what people think? And can I turn the story around and make it really useful and almost like a gift or an insight or something that I could be of service to someone else. And then based on that, build trust. And if I build trust, people remember us, people buy from us, people look towards us because of then I have a person coming back to me. I had to really make that shift. So I use this technique called pause phrases. So if you're new to the show, you might not know, but I write pause phrases. These are like very short phrases. I'm trying to look for the cards around me, but I don't have them. So you have like down here you see like a sentence. There is a sentence that is to help your mind interrupt your thinking, to reflect and then be able to process so that you can speak with care, with thoughtfulness out there. I don't want to use the word intention as such yet, but really thoughtfully think things through. And it just takes a few seconds. So I use these pause phrases because I made an entire list of all the things that was holding me back from my visibility and to being able to show up. I noticed that I had a very poor relationship, and I'm still working on it and getting it stronger each day with making a sale or with finances. So let me show you some of the stuff. I can pull it out here. I have prompts on sticky notes, which later on become these pause phrases, and I make cards and I share it with others. And by doing that, it helps me take action over overthinking it. And because when I overthink and I'm constantly worried because I hear those voices in my head over and over again, I don't take those steps or I don't take that action. I also worked vicariously through these strangers that I met on my travels. They helped me learn to articulate myself better and better each time. And I documented myself consistently all the way through. And slowly over time, I was able to come home to my confidence. I don't think you can develop confidence, you kind of come home to it. And what that means is you get to make peace with yourself in a certain way and accept yourself, but also free yourself in from within, so you're not really having judgments anymore strongly inside of you, and you're able to see all the stories and share it in a way that becomes a story of service. And this to me is the art of visibility. Of course you need to know techniques or framing of the minds, and how can we do that. So I wanted to share with you two individuals that I have met and I felt, wow, I like the way they speak about it. The first one is a dear friend of mine who I actually met in Dubai, and every time I meet her, we're in hysterics. I love how she can get sassy with me and we talk about things as they are. And she shares about LinkedIn and women's leadership. You got to meet her, Annie. The second guest is Helen. Now, Helen, I met her a couple of months ago. And the first time I met her, the moment she shared a couple of things, I was like, she just opened up a new avenue, and my creativity and getting things clearer and clearer was like instantaneously. She gets it. She gets it from a woman's perspective. I look forward to this month's team in taking that ick out of visibility. And if you want to join me even more, I'm hopefully going to share more of my process in my Substack newsletter. If you haven't yet, the link is in the comments. Please join along. All right. For you newbies, I hope you really liked it. And if you did, please be sure to follow and subscribe. And for those of you who've been listening for a while, thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Step it up. Come on, join me in the Substack and have a conversation with me. Let's make this platform even better for those out there that when they listen to it, they're going to get that little bit of a fresh perspective that can change all, maybe their lives, who knows. And for all of you men out there listening to this week's episode all the way to the end, thank you, I appreciate it. And do join along with the conversation. I do think visibility is not just a gender thing, it works hand in hand. So have a good one. Till the next one, take care.